What is up, my Shadow Armies? It is I, Shadow Critias, back again with another Bleach discussion video. So yes, I'm bringing you guys another discussion video that involved Ichigo Kurosaki. For those people remember what I said in my analyzed video about Ichigo Kurosaki being the misunderstood character, and why that Ichigo Kurosaki is literally Spider-Man in the Bleach animated show. And I think I should breaking down on why that I believe that Ichigo Kurosaki and Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, are basically similar and have a lot of comment in their own respective franchise. And this is just my take, and if y'all people are gonna deny the fact of everything I'm about to say, that my take is trash, well, tough luck. I don't give a shit what y'all motherfuckers have to say. And since I grew up with these two characters and understand these characters, we're gonna break them down. I will be only using Peter Parker from the two live-action movies, the same Radium Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And I will use Ichigo Kurosaki from the anime and the manga. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Both Peter Parker and Ichigo Kurosaki were a nobody, an outcast, a loner, get bullied a lot of certain things. Peter Parker gets bullied because he's a nerd, and Ichigo Kurosaki gets bullied because of his hair being orange. And here's something completely different about these two. Peter Parker doesn't defend himself or take the beating, but Ichigo takes the beating and stands his ground. And all this because, well, here's is completely different about this personality. Peter Parker cares a lot of people, but Ichigo, he's basically not open up as much. The reason why is because their family member they lost who passed away. Where Peter Parker lost his Uncle Ben, and Ichigo lost his mother, Masaki Kurosaki, which we'll get into them later. But that's not important right now. But we need to talk about how they became who they are today. Where Peter Parker got bitten by an interactive spider, became Spider-Man, and Ichigo meet Rukia Kuchiki, a supernatural person who gave him the power to become a Soul Reaper, to become the substitute Soul Reaper for his hometown. Ever since Spider-Man got bit by interactive spider, his appearance became a lot different, and able to see without his glasses, gain superhuman strength, speed, durability, and spider sense, spider climb, and shooting webs out of his wrist. And the whole conversation with him and Uncle Ben, when Uncle Ben tells him with great power comes great responsibility. And back to Ichigo, when he was young, he was able to see ghosts and supernatural, but it led to his mother's death, and he blamed himself and not be open up those that he's closest to because of his mother's death, blaming himself. Until things changed when Rukia came to his life, where Hollow attacked his home, attacked his sisters, and Ichigo was given a chance to fight off against Hollow by, when Rukia was injured, offering Ichigo for her power. So Ichigo took basically all of her power to become the substitute Soul Reaper and became the hero of the Soul Society. And same goes for Peter Parker, who became a hero for the New York City to use his powers for good, instead of just using for impress people and use it for money and fame. So these two characters have something in common, especially of what they've been going through and how their personalities are completely different, so to speak. Now, both of them are the heroes in their own way. Peter Parker, a Spider-Man, the protector and the hero of New York City, where Ichigo is a substitute Soul Reaper and the protector of his hometown, Kurokuro Town. And these two are basically similar. They both have this responsibility, and they willing to keep their secret of what they've been doing when they're not around. And Ichigo wants to make sure no one knows what he's been doing. Same goes for Peter Parker to not let his aunt, his best friend, and his crush know what he's been doing. So, until later on that, well, everybody knows what they've been doing. Like, well, except Aunt May. She doesn't know what Peter Parker, that he was Spider-Man at the time. So, basically, the only people who know about Peter being a Spider-Man is Norman Osborn, Dr. Otto Octavius, Harry Osborn, and Mary Jane. That's basically it. Oh, forgot to mention Eddie Brock. Forgot to mention that. And of course, I'm gonna include this character from the Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy from the Amazing Spider-Man movie. So I might as well include that. And her father as well. So, yeah. And not only that, Ichigo basically been caught for certain people like Chad, Orihime, and Uryu knows that Ichigo was taking out these hollows, and Uryu has some vendetta against the Soul Reapers. And of course, we have the possible chance that Urahime's childhood friend and Ichigo's first younger sister had suspicions that her brother is the Soul Reaper, and of course, his father, who knew that Ichigo was the Soul Reaper, being a substitute Soul Reaper because, well, he is part Shinigami because of his father. So, yeah. That's the only thing that they both have something in common of being responsibility to be the hero of their hometown, and some of their closest friends and loved ones are basically know and aware on who they are and what they've been doing in their life. Now this one might be the short one. What is their goals? Well, honestly, their goals are basically similar and basically the same. They want to protect the people they care and love and to protect the people of their hometown. And this is where people have some issues with Ichigo because he doesn't have a goal like Naruto and Luffy, because they have a goal to become the king of the pirate and the next Hokage, but that's not just a goal, that's a dream goal. There's a difference. Ichigo doesn't have a dream goal. All he wants to do is protect the people that he cares and love and make sure they don't end up in the same situation like he was. So that's basically what Ichigo, his goal is to be strong enough to protect those he cared and loved. Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, has a goal to be the hero that everyone could look up to, and also that he wants to protect everyone that he cared and loved so they can have a peaceful life. So I don't see the issue on why people say that Ichigo doesn't have a goal, and that it really does tick me off. I don't understand why people are thinking this. So yeah, I just don't see the point of it. So basically, both Ichigo and Peter Parker both have the same goal, to protect the people they can love and protect their hometown. So this is actually the most shortest thing to go over. So, and plus, they both have, with great power, they have a responsibility. Like, again, like Uncle Ben once said, with great power comes great responsibility. And both Peter Parker and Ichigo Kurosaki have that great power, and they have to be oh god, I can't say the word. They have the power, and they have to be responsibility with their great power. Let's talk about their inner demons. In Spider-Man 3, when Peter Parker has the symbiote black suit Spider-Man, aka Venom, it brought out his negative emotion that has been feeding in him, that he's been hiding and holding in for years. And in the deleted scene in Spider-Man 3, when Peter Parker returns back after killing Flint Marko, and we'll get to him later. And ever since he looked himself in the mirror, reflected himself and have his suit underneath, he comes to the realization of if he wears that suit, he might become his inner demon, a monster that he does not want to become. There's a deleted scene of that if you guys want to check it out. And they actually showed it in the trailer as well. So basically, the black suit basically gives out Ichigo's negative emotion, where you have White, who's literally the similar version of Ichigo, who's literally his hollow, aka since, well, Ichigo's mother is also a Quincy, but inherited a hollow that was created by Aizen. So the hollow been transported to Ichigo when Ichigo was born. So White is part of Ichigo, take the shape and form of himself. And White is Ichigo's inner demon. So basically White is Ichigo's inner demon, but also the one that he's feared to become. And White is his Zanpakuto, Zangetsu, basically. And so that is one thing that Ichigo is afraid of, to become a hollow, until, well, where Peter Parker finally free from the black suit symbiote that would slowly consume him and control him, and see what would happen to someone else, like Eddie Brock, for example, who literally became Venom. And this is something that Peter Parker would have been if he kept the suit, a mindless monster that people would be afraid of. So basically Venom in Spider-Man 3 is basically what Peter Parker could have been if he kept the suit. Now, when Ichigo died by the hands of Ukiola, came back as the Vasalorted Ichigo, aka when White fully took over, and Ichigo become the thing that he has feared to become. And even he said, when he came back to the living after the high-speed regeneration, he said himself, the entity you thought was a holofying being was no consciousness. It was not really me. So even he compares his inner demon as a separate entity. So that shows that Ichigo is afraid to become a hollow, and he actually did. So both of them had faced and encountered their inner demons, and they learned to face up against it and overcome their fear at the end of the movie and the Rancor arc. And speaking the arc and, well, Spider-Man movie, I think we should move on to the next one. So yeah, was very interested, and I thought White was going to be Ichigo's inner demon, but no, his hollow of that part of him is his inner demon, and White literally is the Vasalore that he wants to break free from Ichigo's grasp for not letting his true power come out. So, I mean, it did happen once when he fought Byakuya Kushiki in the Soul Society arc. So, there's that. So, was a similar thing when Ichigo used his I can't even say the word, his holification, and Peter Parker wear the black suit. Well, it changed their personality and made them to be a mindless, brooding monster. And what they realized that they're about to become the one thing they fear of. So yeah, that's the reason why. And yeah, that's all I have to say about their inner demons. Now, I've been thought about this. Which of the two characters are the mirror reflect of each of the two main characters for Peter Parker and Ichigo? Well, the only two characters I could think of would make a lot more sense. And these two basically are Dr. Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus, or Doc Ock for short, and Ukiura Cypher or Schiffer, the number 4 Espada Rancor. The reason why these two are the mirror image of themselves is because, well, Dr. Octopus is the person that Peter Parker actually looks up and see him as an idol, and he wants to be like him to have a balanced life, something that Peter Parker had tried and failed when he is being himself as Peter Parker and be a hero as Spider-Man. What Otto is basically doing both, being scientist and being lovely husband to his wife. The man finally got the woman that he loved and has dreamed, until it got taken away, where everything got wrong. So Dr. Otto Octavia is basically the opposite of Peter Parker if he did had everything that he wanted from the start and lost everything when something got wrong. Well, Peter Parker, on the hand, when he tried to get everything right but fails, he blamed himself for being Spider-Man. Blaming Spider-Man for ruining his life can't keep things in balance. So he wants to learn what he can learn from his idol, how to keep things balanced. So Peter Parker actually learns it to do both, realize that, well, he is Peter Parker, he is Spider-Man. They both are the same people, and they could do both to keep things balanced. Now with Ichigo, on the other hand, Ulquiorra is basically the opposite of Ichigo, because if you remember, in Ulquiorra's origin, he was an outcast, he was a loner, he gets picked on and bullied, and he actually killed those hollows that were make fun of him because that his whole appearance was just all white and not black. And now then, Ulquiorra doesn't believe anything, or he doesn't understand of any human emotion, and the only thing he sees and believes that he has an eye to see, and he doesn't feel nothing. He's the embodiment of emptiness. So he's basically of Ichigo if he felt only emptiness and have no heart, and Ulquiorra is the represent of what is to have a heart. And I said it before in my Orihime video that Ulquiorra is basically the villain for Orihime, not Ichigo. Ulquiorra is the mirror image of Ichigo if he did have anyone in his life, or if he pushed everyone away to the brink where he just wants to be alone. And there is in the chapter in the manga where Ichigo compares Ulquiorra as a human because he acts like a human more than a hollow, which is very foreshadowing that Ulquiorra does act like a human, where Ichigo is more acting like a hollow. So the role has been reversed for both sides of the characters. The villain is acting like a human, and the hero is acting like a hollow that he despises of. So, and it actually did happen in the fight of Vasalore Ichigo and Ulquiorra, and at the end of Ulquiorra, he dies for understanding of the human heart. And Dr. Otto Octavius comes to the realization what he has done, and he's to make amends by saving the world, by redeeming himself, by taking his project down with him underneath the sea. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think Doc Ock and Ulquiorra are the mirror reflection of our two main characters, what they could have been if they were in this similar situation between these two characters. Now we get something that is very interesting, is they losing their power and restore their power. In the second movie of Spider-Man 2, where Peter Parker, like I said in the last part of mirror reflecting of himself, Peter Parker have a self-doubting of himself, of his double life as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, doubting himself that he is done being Spider-Man, blaming Spider-Man that ruined his life to have his power. Even the ending of the first film that he said, "This is my gift, my curse." And the second one, he sees Spider-Man and his power as a curse. And whenever Spider-Man goes on a mission to save people's life, Peter Parker just gives up on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man gives up on Peter Parker. It's that self-doubting between Peter Parker for not seeing that both him and Spider-Man are the same people. And so basically, ever since Peter Parker gave up being Spider-Man, he was happy, he was free, he could finally be himself, finally have a life that he'd been wanted. Like, he could finally focus on school, finally focusing on his job, and actually believe that everything will go back to normal, that he will finally get the chance to be with Mary Jane, to have her to counseled her wedding, but it doesn't work like that. And every time there's some bad things happen, he just annoyed because it's not his problem. And when he learns that the crimes increases without Spider-Man, the world needs Spider-Man, and they see how the world is desperate without him. And then in the Spider-Man 2, where Peter Parker rushed in the burning building to save a child but couldn't save the other person that was still in there, even he says, and I quote, like, what am I supposed to do? This is what I really wanted, what I need. Is that self-doubted and wanted. Is so desperate that he doesn't know what he wants to do, what he needs, and as himself, who is he? What is he? And who am I? He's self-doubting himself of him as a person. Until the day that MJ gets captured, that Peter Parker finally regained his power to save Mary Jane and became the Spider-Man that he was always meant to be. To be both. He's Peter Parker, both in and out of the suit. He's Spider-Man, both in and out of the suit. Peter Parker and Spider-Man are the same people, and they can have balance. So, in the Fullbringer arc for Ichigo, ever since Ichigo learns the final Gesuga Tensho to defeat Aizen, but it came with a great cost, that Ichigo will lose his ability to see any ghosts or supernatural, and his Shinigami abilities. Now he's back with a normal life that he thought it would be best that he should have a normal life without any Shinigami abilities. But every time he see his friends skipping class, facing up against the Hollows, Ichigo's feeling left out. And he does have a job to keep him busy, but it's not enough. He's still feeling left out. He's still feeling an outcast, that he's not out there being the hero that he was always meant to be, while his friends doing all the work. And that is something that Ichigo doesn't like. He doesn't like where all of his friends doing his work while he is helpless. This is what it's about. Peter Parker and Ichigo Kurosaki are feeling powerless and helpless, that they just lost their powers. And when Ichigo come across a person named Genji who could help him to restore his power to unlock his Fullbring ability, so he could finally fight against the Hollow and protect his hometown, until Genji took his power and took everyone that he cared and loved, turned against Ichigo, which broke him mentally and emotionally state, and to be a loner yet again, until he gets stabbed in the back by Rukia for restoring Ichigo's Shinigami powers with his Fullbring ability, aka the Fullbring Shinigami powers. So Ichigo is finally became the agent of that he's always meant to be, a substitute Soul Reaper, for all the things he has done for protecting the Kurokura town and saving the Soul Society. So the Goatee 13 owe a great debt to Ichigo to give the power of the Shinigami and be the substitute Soul Reaper that he's always meant to be. Now Ichigo, with his full bring Shinigami abilities, now being the substitute Soul Reaper yet again. So these two basically have in common, no matter how try they want to go back like it was before, it's just never the same, because it's not. You're used to it. You enjoy what you become. You enjoy what you do to protect the people and your city and everyone you care and love. But when those powers are gone, you felt helpless. You felt powerless, and you're desperate to be the hero yet again. Until the end, you finally regain those powers back and be the hero that you're always meant to be. So losing that power is sounds of a helpless and powerless, but when they regained that power, they finally became the hero they missed to be. So yeah, that is why the full bring in Spider-Man 2 has a huge impact for these characters to losing their powers and have their power restore. So yeah. Oh boy, here we go. The lover part. The main character's love interest. Oh boy, this is gonna be a nail biter, huh? I'm gonna start with Orihime first, because I have a lot of things I need to say about Mary Jane. So I'm gonna start with Orihime first. I said it in my previous videos that I made a video about why Orihime is not useless. And if you guys want to hear my take on Orihime as a character, go check that out. I will explain it more about Orihime here, that Orihime is Ichigo's love interest, and it's been confirmed and is happened in the light novel We Do Not Always Love You, where Ichigo finally asks out Orihime on a date, and in the time skip in the Thousand Year Blood War, Ichigo and Orihime actually got married and had a son. And it's actually stated that both Ichigo and Orihime have a crush on each other, and both Ichigo and Orihime have a lot of common because they get bullied and picked on because, well, Orihime gets bullied because of her orange hair, and she is now alone because she had an argument with her brother, and her brother, who was about to head down to work, and dies in a terrible accident. But when Orihime was just a child, her parents were a drug addict and abusive parents, and they were this close battling killing Orihime when she was an infant. So the only person that was able to take care of her was her older brother. And of course, the only person who was able to look out for her was his childhood best friend, who's always stood up for her, looked out for her, and defending her when someone is trying to bully her. So Orihime was a kind, caring person, even though she's been through a lot in her life, but she decided to push forward and bring the light in the dark. And Orihime is basically the shield and the healer of the group of the show. And people say that she's fucking useless. She's not. She has been pulling her weight. She has been in battle before. She doesn't like to fight. She doesn't want to hurt people. That's just not her thing. When she was able to fight a Hollow for the first time, she was able to handle herself. And she learns that her ability is not about fighting. It's about being a shield and a healer. Not only that, she literally just gave herself up to Ukiura to protect the people that she cared and loved. Something that Ichigo would do to protect the people he cared and loved if he had no choice to give himself up. So Orihime did something that Ichigo would do. How was that make her useless that she just gave herself up to protect the people that she cared and loved? That's not being useless. That's being a protector. Like Ichigo being protector for everyone that he cared and loved. And I know people are going to get butthurt that Ichigo did not end up with Rukia because, well, tough love, because Ranji and Rukia are a thing, and Orihime and Ichigo are a thing, so y'all guys are going to have to deal with it when it gets animated next year. So, tough luck, bitches. So anyway, I even made a video why it will not work between Ichigo and Rukia will never be a couple. So, with that out of the way, let's go over to Mary Jane. In the Sam Raimi version, oh my god. This is why people prefer Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man movie and the comic version of herself, because Gwen Stacy is the first lover, true lover for Peter Parker, and more healthy, supporting relationship. But with Mary Jane, on the other hand, she is a cheating whore bitch and a toxic woman. Literally. Okay, how do I put this? She basically breaks up with someone, be with someone else the next day, and she started dating Peter Parker's best friend. And whenever she talks about Spider-Man, Harry gets jealous about it, and Mary Jane decided to cheat Harry by kissing Spider-Man, and basically trying to cheat on Harry with Peter, quote unquote, and in Harry's eye. And the death of Norman Osborn, Mary Jane breaks up with Harry and kissing Peter Parker in the same day at Norman's funeral. Yeah, not only that, she's been trying to get Peter Parker to be with her, and ever since Peter Parker, tried to be there and support MJ, but when she's about to get married, to rub in Peter Parker's face and being disrespectful. And when her wedding comes around, she leaves her future husband to be with Peter Parker in the same day. And the third one, when her career, her dream job, has been ruined and not going well, she gets so obsessed, and Peter Parker, trying to be supportive like a good boyfriend that he is, she gets so upset because all she cares about is herself and her attention. That's all she fucking cares about. When she stepped foot out of the theater room, when everyone was cheering, they were cheering for Spider-Man, not her, and she gets all pissed off. And she gets so pissed off for Peter Parker kissing another woman. Here's the thing. Nobody knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. No one knows that Spider-Man was in a relationship and Peter Parker, you want to keep this a secret, or Spider-Man is a different person. We made an agreement on that. And then, so basically, Peter Parker basically did the same thing in Spider-Man 2, rubbing MJ's face by going out with Gwen Stacy. So, to rub it in Mary Jane's face. Hell, she even cheated Peter Parker with Harry. So, similar thing in Spider-Man 1. So yeah, Mary Jane is a cheating, toxic bitch in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. What do you think people prefer Gwen Stacy? And what do you think people prefer the other love interests that Spider-Man have? Like Black Cat, Silk, and Rogue, and more. Seriously, MJ is the worst love interest, and people prefer Gwen than MJ herself. Whew. Man, I need to get that on my chest. Now you understand why I had to save her for last. So, I have nothing else to say about this. So, their love interest is completely different. Gwen Stacy, she's the perfect love interest for Peter Parker. So, yeah, I have nothing else to say. And now we reach on the truth reveal of the fate and death of Misaki Kurosaki and Uncle Ben Parker. So we thought that, well, Ichigo and Peter Parker believed that their family member, were killed by, well, Ichigo believed that her mother died by the Hollow, Grand Fisher, and Peter Parker believed that his uncle died by the robbery that he let go, who stole Uncle Ben's car. Which, when they finally got their revenge and killed the wrong person, turns out the real person who murdered Misaki Kurosaki and Uncle Ben is Yhwach, the king of Quincy, and Flint Marko, aka Sandman. And here's something that is very different between these two villains. They are completely different because, well, you have Yhwach, the king of all Quincy, who literally is the son of the Soul King himself, and he is just evil. Literally evil, wants to become the next Soul King so he could change the world into his own image by killing his own father by any means necessary, by killing his own people. And when Ichigo learns more about his blood heritage, that he is more of a Quincy. He is both Shinigami, human, hollow, and a Quincy because his mother was a Quincy. So that literally shocks Ichigo, and spoiler alert for the manga, Ichigo learns that it was Yhwach who murdered his mother all those years ago. So yeah, that literally shocked Ichigo that now it wasn't a hollow. It just wanted Ichigo to believe it was a hollow. The hollow was trying to lead Ichigo to his death. Yhwach wants to kill Misaki Kurosaki because, well, Yhwach just led Misaki to her death because, well, Yhwach basically took her soul and her Quincy abilities. When she was able to use her Quincy abilities, she was instantly killed by the Hollow before Yhwach gets to finish the job. She was barely alive, but Yhwach killed her to finish the job. So yeah, so basically Yhwach was the responsible and the one who caused Ichigo's mother's death. Now with Flint Marko, on the other hand, he is different. The only words I can say about Flint Marko is he is a broken man and a desperate father to save his daughter, who's in some kind of disease that his daughter is dying from. And he will do whatever it takes to save his daughter by robbing to steal money. And he did not want to kill anybody. When he told Peter Parker, well, he doesn't know his real name, told Spider-Man the truth what had happened that night. Told him that all he wanted was just a car. And he told him to drop the gun and go home. And Uncle Ben was trying to help him, reason with him. And when his partner arrived with the cash, and Flint Marko forgot that he had the gun in his hand, accidentally pulled the trigger, accidentally killed him. He didn't want it to happen. He didn't mean to for any of this. So he's a broken man who's trying to save his daughter. And Uncle Ben died as a hero to help and reason this man to not do it. Do not be a terrible person. And Misaki died as a protector to save and protecting her son, like any mother and father would, to protect their children, but mostly their mother. So basically both Misaki and Ben are the heroes for our two main characters. And Ichigo will never forgive Yhwach for the death of his mother. Peter Parker, on the other hand, Flint Marko said himself that, "I'm not asking for your forgiveness, I just wanted you to know." Even Peter Parker says, "I have done terrible things too, and I forgive you." Basically forgave the man who murdered his uncle, even though it was an accident and he didn't want to kill him. It was an accident. So, this is one thing was very interesting. Yhwach is just evil and just wanted to turn the whole world into his own image by any means necessary by killing his own kind, where Flint Marko is just a broken man, a desperate father who's trying to save his daughter by any means necessary by stealing money. Even he said himself, "I'm not a bad person, it's just bad luck." So he's just an innocent person who is desperate to find a way to save his daughter, like any father would when they're at that breaking point. And there was a deleted scene where Flint Marko does meet his daughter and his wife and the professor that Flint Marko wants him to save his daughter. But they kind of cut that off because they don't want to stress the story too long. So they had to cut that out. So yeah, both Flint Marko, aka Sandman, and Yhwach are basically completely different villains in their own way. Whew, man, this video might be the longest one I ever done. But before we actually end this video, I need to go over some things real quick. Everyone hated Ichigo because he is too relatable, which that's full of shit, and everyone is a hypocrite. Why? Well, you have Zuko, Naruto, Luke Skywalker, and Anakin Skywalker, who are basically the relatable characters because we understand what they're going through and what they did, the decision they made to be a better person of themselves, where Zuko is trying to redeem himself of who he is, where Naruto was an outcast and lone because he was born and half with a nine-tailed fox and trying to be a better person, to be the next Hokage, where you have Anakin Skywalker, who is basically us when we make a terrible mistake and try our best to do what is right. With Luke Skywalker, on the other hand, he's basically the related character that who we want to be to do what we believe is right, to do the right thing. But when it comes to Ichigo, he doesn't get that treatment. But when it comes to Spider-Man, he gets the same treatment for being a relatable character because everyone looks up to him and idol him because they want to be like him, to be the hero that everyone wants to be. But when it comes to Ichigo, he's too relatable, but it's okay for these other characters that I just named and mentioned. They get a free pass, but not Ichigo because he's too relatable, which the other characters that I just named who are relatable, who are literally the definition of a relatable characters. So y'all guys are hypocrites, and I will defend Ichigo for being a relatable character to the day I fucking die. So if y'all have a problem with it, y'all could fuck off. And I said it before at the beginning of the video, if y'all have a problem of my take and calling it garbage, y'all motherfuckers could fucking leave because I don't give a fuck what you have to say. And I'm just gonna remove you guys' comment because, well, fuck you, that's why. Because your comment meant nothing to me. So yeah, that's all I have to say, and that is why I believe that Ichigo Kurosaki and Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, are basically the same and similar characters in their own rights. But yeah, that's all I have to say for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Links to my other channels, my social medias will be down below. Description box. You can know the drill. If you guys want to donate to support the channel, links to my Cash App, PayPal, Ko-fi, all that'll be down below. Description box and in my bio if you guys want to donate to support the channel. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. kneel before Shadow Critias. I'll see you guys later.